The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown Show, a hoop ball presentation. This episode is brought to you by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. Get some delicious coffee, taste the Kona difference. Head over to hawaiianisles.com or head over to Amazon. Get yourself some coffee. My name is Adrian Benjamins and I'm joined by Coach. Coach, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, Adrian, how are you, my man? I'm doing great, doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. You know, I gotta say, Monday's always my least favorite day of the week, and I love that you and I are scheduled for this night because it gives me something to look forward to, man. When I'm like down in the dumps in the afternoon, I think to myself, I'm gonna talk to Coach later today, and we're gonna talk hoops. So I love, man, that you and I are on Monday night, man.
Oh, I do too. I mean, it is Mondays are interesting for me because I this is my third pod, but it's the one I look most forward to. And we always have a nice little slate here on Mondays to talk about. So it's good stuff, man.
Yes, and not too bad tonight. Only 6 games. I think last week you and I had 11 game slate,
Yes.
so that was pretty heavy. I'm actually kind of glad we got a little lighter slate because we could really pay more attention to it. But before we dive into the box scores, Coach, we're headed into week 3 of the fantasy season. How are your fantasy teams doing? How is DFS going? Give me a little rundown of how fantasy's been treating you so far.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I live in the DFS world the majority of the time. We're doing 7 shows a week, DFS wise, and just totally zoned in on that. It's been an absolute blast. But at my core, I'm a fantasy league, rotisserie league player from way back, as you know. And I love my year-long leagues, and I am just ecstatic this year, Adrian. I'm in 5 leagues, and would you believe I'm in first place in 4 of them?
Yes.
I have never been in that good a shape before.
I love
But
it, man. I love it. Who
isn't that nuts?
who are some guys on a lot of your teams that are just balling out? Like who are the guys that you're just so excited to have on your teams this year, coach?
Well, there's some guys I have in all 5 leagues, believe it or not. I have Porzingis because he was slid down to me in the third and fourth round in most drafts. I have Brandon Ingram, who I was super high on, and he's been balling it up like
Mhm.
crazy. Couple of them I have Luca, and obviously, I mean, he's been right there with the big boys. I have Harden in the one league; he's crushing it. I have Drummond in 2 of the leagues. I mean, it's been a storybook start for me. The only league that I'm not winning, I had Curry in, and I took that one on the chops, but. That's the only major injury I've hit so far. How about you? What
Man,
do you? How are you doing?
it's been a little bit of a rough start for me. I just got some guys that are underperforming a little bit. Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
I had Trey Young go down in my home league,
Mm,
but hey, I'm thanking my lucky stars that that injury wasn't
yeah.
serious because when I first saw him get carried off the court, I thought for sure he was gonna miss some major time. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm not freaking out. It's a long season.
Yeah.
It's more of a marathon, not a sprint. And I mean, I got some guys I love. Bam Adebayo, I have on a bunch of teams. Thomas
Nice.
Bryant. Even though Beal has been up and down, I think he's going to be fine. So I'm not freaking out. I've been able to make some great ads off the wire. Rashawn Holmes, I got in a bunch of leagues, and man,
Wow.
that could be big. So far so good. I'm not in first, but I'm just like right on the cusp in a lot of leagues. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, man. But good to hear that you're doing well in your leagues. You know, you were really high on Porzingis, I remember during the summer, and
Yeah.
really glad that you hear, man, that guy looks outstanding. He looks so
Oh,
good. So
he looks, and I think he's just going to get better. I mean, he had not played for almost 2 years, and so this, and only 7 games in, you would think, what he probably needs a good 15, 18 games under his belt before he's in peak form. But man, it's so much fun being a Mavs fan with Porzingis and specifically Luka. It's a blast to watch him.
It is unbelievable, Coach, how that Dirk Nowitzki era kind of came to an end, and they just reloaded the next season
Yeah.
with Luka and Porzingis. I mean, it takes some franchises years to be able to get in the position that the Dallas Mavericks are in already so quickly. So, yeah, man, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you have got to be loving life. The future is so bright with those two guys, man. Good stuff
It's
there.
gonna be fun. Yeah, I can't wait. It's Dirk was the best ever to watch for all those years, but there needed to be a changing of the guard, and it's amazing that, I mean, Luka looks like an MVP kind of player. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I can see him taking some MVPs down. He's 20 years old, for God's sakes. It's unbelievable.
Can I tell you, in my home league, somebody took Luca in the first round, and we were all freaking out. Like, what are you doing? Like, and can I tell you now, that guy looks like a genius.
Yeah,
That guy, I
exactly.
mean, Luca looks unbelievable, man. I mean, flirting with the triple double on a nightly basis. One of the knocks that everybody kept talking about was he hurts you from the free throw line. He went 6 of 6 the other night,
I
Coach.
know.
So just, I mean, doesn't look like free throws is an issue in that league too. It's an 8 category league, so that guy doesn't even need to worry about turnovers. I
Turnovers.
mean, and
Jeez.
and man, Luca, just the stuff that he's doing on the court reminds me a lot of James Harden. How he kind
Yeah.
of plays real shifty, and it's just real intelligent. How he uses angles to like cut guys off. I mean, Coach, how he's playing at that high of an IQ at age 20 in his second year, it's really scary to think what this guy is going to look like 5 years from now when he's only 24, 25. I mean,
It's incredible.
it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So,
Yeah, and his game does remind me of Harden in the
mhm.
step backs,
Yep.
and he's so strong going to the basket, but he's a lot taller than Harden.
Hmm.
And the other thing is he's a gifted passer of the basketball too. I mean, that's what makes it even. I mean, he has the ability to be, top 3 players in the league for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just so excited
It's
to
fun.
be
I want to
around.
give a shout out to Andre Drummond too, man.
Oh,
Can you
whew,
believe his start? I mean,
unbelievable.
three out of 7 games, 2020. That only has been done a couple of times, and he has over 150 rebounds in his first 7 games played. Only Wilt, Kareem, and Dennis Rodman have ever done that. So I mean, he's in rarefied air with what he's been doing, and he's been a monster,
and,
man.
and and not even really hurting you from the line. I mean, we're going to take a
No,
look at the box score tonight, but 3 of 3 from the line tonight. But coach, let me ask you, and before I ask you, I'm going to say I'm not worried, but do you at all think it could be a sell high moment with Blake on his way back, or do you think Drummond's just locked and loaded no matter what for the rest of the
well,
year?
and believe it or not, in 5 of my leagues, I have Drummond in 2 of them, and in both of those leagues, I have Blake Griffin, and in one other league, I have Blake Griffin. So, I I I think that Griffin is definitely going to cut into some of Drummond's stats. But dude, I mean, it's so if he goes from 22 points and 27 rebounds down to 19 points and 20 rebounds, it's not exactly, going to crush him. But
Hmm.
I do think that Griffin is going to eat into his stats. And I think Griffin is back this next game from
Interesting.
everything I've read. So I wouldn't give up on him or trade him or anything like that. But you certainly can't expect him just to, you know, completely carry you like he has been with
Hmm.
with a lot of us. So I like having Griffin as that bumper because I do think he and Griffin will still completely dominate for them,
Hmm.
and do well. So,
Well,
what do you think?
and what we saw in seasons past that they can coexist together and put up good value together. One of the
Yeah,
things that I like about Blake is he's kind of changed his game to be a little bit more of a perimeter guy, improved his
yeah,
outside shooting. His assists were a real pleasant surprise
ridiculous.
last season. So
Yeah,
I like that, he's kind of molded his game to be able to be out on the perimeter, which still leaves Drummond a ton of space to eat inside. So
yeah,
I agree with you. Maybe but Drummond sees a little tiny dip, but even so, man, he's been putting up some ridiculous numbers. Even if he saw like a 10% dip, I mean, he's still going to give you
still gonna
outstanding
kill it.
value. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
And like you said,
mhm,
he's not hurting you in any category
yeah,
anymore. So that was always the knock on him for years is yes, he's going to really, really help you in multiple categories, but you can't make up for all his missed free throws when they were doing the hack of Drummond and all that. But he's fixed it. He's shooting a reasonable, if he shoots 70% from the line, I mean, you're good. You're
yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, coach, I could just talk to you all day just about random stuff, but let's jump into the box scores, man. Let's start
All
with
right.
let's start with the Pistons and the Wizards. The Wizards getting the victory 115 to 99. I'm going to start on the Pistons first. And I'm going to start with your guy, coach, Andre Drummond, 15 points, 24 rebounds, monster double double. Oh yeah, 2 steals, 2 blocks as well, 4 assists.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Shot a perfect 3 of 3 from the line. What a great game from him. Bruce Brown, man, this guy,
Wow.
I'm kind of tempted to snatch him up in some 12-team and deeper leagues because
Yeah.
the Pistons are missing Rose. They're missing Frazier, didn't play in this one, and Reggie Jackson's not going to suit up anytime soon. So I kind
Right.
of like the idea of Brown for exactly what we saw here tonight. 14 points. Now, the 3 blocks and the 2 steals, I think that's a little fluky. I don't think he's going to give you those monster defensive stats, but the 7 assists, 7 rebounds, gave you a 3. Not a bad game from Bruce Brown, man. I'm going to be trying to snatch him up in some leagues. Tony Snell got the start, but 11 points, not much else. I don't think we're really counting on him. Luke Kennard, this is a guy for sure.
Yeah.
Double check that he's not sitting on your waiver because if you need points and if you need threes, he's your guy. 24 points, even gave you a 5 assists, 4 boards, 3 threes, shot 6 of 12, 9 of 11 from the line. Great game from
Yep.
him. Morris, not too much, only 4 points in 14 minutes. Coach, the guy that also is intriguing to me, if he could get more minutes, Christian Wood. 15
Yeah.
points, 2 blocks, an assist, 4 rebounds. I don't really trust him in this low 20-minute, high teen minute role off the bench. But if he somehow could, like, crack the starting lineup, which again is not likely. We just talked about Blake coming back. So I'm just watching him in a lot of leagues. But man, like in a different setting, I think Wood would be an outstanding fantasy player. Coach, is there anything I'm missing here? What are your thoughts on the Pistons?
Well, I think that if you can get Kennard or Brown, go after them because they're both going to play big roles with this team going forward. I mean, I disagree with your take on the defensive stats for Brown.
Ah,
His calling card is defensive prowess. He's a defensive stopper. I mean, I think where he's going to lose is the assists numbers as some of those other guys come back. But I think you're going to see a lot of steals and some blocks. He's a jumper and a great defender.
wow.
So yeah, and I tried to get him, and he's already scooped up in my leagues. He's gone, and Kennard was drafted. So, those are the two guys. Now, if you have Morris or Wood, I think you're in bad shape. Get rid of those guys because with Blake coming back, it's Blake and Andre and all the
Mhm.
minutes that matter. And that's really where they are. So.
Coach, can I tell you a funny story, man? Right before we started recording this podcast, I went to pick up Bruce Brown in the Hoop Ball Staff League. He was there on the wire. Went to pick him up. Didn't know who to drop. I had to choose between, I think it was Roy Hachimura and Eric
Ooh,
Paschall. And coach, I
ouch.
didn't know
Those
what
are
to do.
both good
Right,
guys.
right. I didn't know what to do. So I was thinking, maybe I should keep those guys, maybe I shouldn't. So I'm like, you know what? Let me walk over to let me leave my computer for a sec. Let me walk over to the fridge, grab a beer. Let me ponder this thought, and then I'll make up my mind. When I came
Yeah.
back, I was like, you know what? Pascal might just be a short-term thing. Let me see if I can make the switch. The Yahoo website said that player is no longer available.
Oh,
Ethan Noroff grabbed him as I so man, it just tells you you gotta strike while the iron's hot sometimes. Yeah.
ouch.
Yep.
You missed by 5 minutes, huh?
Oh, I mean maybe by seconds.
You know
Probably
what
maybe
though,
by
dude? I
seconds.
mean, you have either one of those guys you were going to drop. Both could be terrific. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're stuck with a bum there. So
Oh,
it might end up being okay.
you know what? Actually, I think I was gonna drop Hachimura because he only got 16 minutes tonight. So let's segue that into the Washington side of this game, and
Yeah.
I'll start with Bradley Beal. I have him in my main hometown league, and um, man, he's been a little up and down. The shooting hasn't been great. Got 22 points here tonight is good. 6 assists, 5 boards. Had a three.
Hmm.
Shot 8 of 17. That's not bad. 5 of 8 from the line, but also did have 5 turnovers. Luckily, that league I got him is an 8 category league, so I'm not dealing with that. I'm really hoping. I think Beal's going to be just fine. Maybe not the first round value I had hoped, but I still think he's going to be a pretty solid player overall. Thomas Bryant, 14 points, a block, an assist, 7 rebounds, 1 3, 6 of 10
Yeah.
from the field, 1 of 2 from the line. Um, Let me see. Oh, a guy that I want to mention. Well, you know what? Let's talk about Roy Hachimura for a second. Only 16 minutes.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think he might have gotten into some foul trouble. I'm seeing 4 personal fouls, so maybe that did it. 12 points, 1 steal, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Just hang tight with him. I think he'll be much better. A guy that I want to talk about that I was able to scoop up in a bunch of leagues. In fact, I picked him up before tonight. Troy Brown Jr., 14
Nice.
points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals in 31 minutes off the bench. Coach, I
Wow.
think this is a guy that they're going to eventually let loose, maybe even start over Bonga. And so
Yeah.
I really love the idea of picking up Troy Brown if you got a guy that you don't mind dumping. That's about all I got on the Wizards. What do you think about the Wizards, Coach?
I think Troy Brown's a smart pickup. I've watched Bonga and he just has a very low ceiling. He's not very good. He's sort of like a little more athletic Thon Maker kind of guy, just not impressive. So I think Troy Brown will get consistent minutes there for sure. Hashimura is a rookie. He's going to have ups and downs. He had 10 points in the first quarter of that game. He was off to a fantastic start. So I didn't catch much of the second half, but he must have gotten in foul trouble. But he and Brian will be solid. I'm a little concerned about Beal though, and I'll tell you why. You may want to look at options. I know you're probably not going to get value for him, trade him, but I think with Isaiah Thomas being plugged into that starting lineup, I think that really takes a blow for Beal because he was leading the league in usage a week ago, and he was their go-to guy. Isaiah Thomas is still a chuck and duck,
Hmm.
ball dominant guy that's going to get shot a lot of shots up,
Hmm.
and I think that's going to steal some of Beal's thunder. He's already dropped from first to fifth in usage just in the week that Isaiah's been getting more minutes. So just something to be a little wary of. I think on Beal's front is Isaiah may take some of those. I mean, Isaiah took more threes again tonight than Beal did. That just shouldn't be the case.
Mm.
Beal's one of the best shooters in the league, and I just don't like that Isaiah's stealing some of that thunder.
I think that's a good point, and I'm glad you mentioned Isaiah Thomas because I forgot to mention him at the start of this Wizards breakdown. Moved into the starting lineup here tonight. You guys, I think if you need some point guard help and he's still sitting on the wire, might be worth a look. I'm not a big Isaiah Thomas fan. I'm just saying, there's
Yeah.
some teams that are really desperate for point guard help. I think that's a good sign for him that he's moved into the starting lineup. And as you said, Coach, took 12 shots already. Getting inserted into the starting lineup. And I think you make a good point. I really didn't consider the impact that Thomas could have on Beal. But, I am still slightly hopeful because one of the things that concerned me at the beginning of the season, Coach, is that Beal was like the only guy that the defense would have to worry about. So the
Yeah.
defenses were just keying in on him. So I'm actually kind of hoping maybe
Well,
if Isaiah Thomas does get some scoring, that defenses, won't they won't have to spend so much attention on Beal. It could maybe open things up to him. But I do think you make a
good
good point.
point.
And
Yeah.
generally you want your players to get as much usage as possible, and you make a great point that definitely Isaiah Thomas is going to take some of that usage away from Beal. Coach,
Yeah. Well, hopefully it works.
any closing thoughts on this game before we jump over to the next one?
No, I'm ready to go on to the next one.
All right, let's keep rolling. Next game of the night, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets getting the victory 135 to 125. Coach, I kind of like that gray court with those gray jerseys that the Nets are
Yeah.
rocking. It kind of like it's weird on my eyes. Like it's got like a black and white kind of effect.
Exactly.
It's kind of cool. Anyways, let's jump over on the Pelican side. Coach said it earlier on the show. Brandon Ingram has been lights out. 40 burger tonight from Brandon
Whew.
Ingram. 2 steals, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's been outstanding. Perfect 5 of 5 from the line. Coach, check out this shooting. 17 of 24
Good
from the
Lord.
field. I mean, what has gotten into this guy, man? He looks
71% from the field? Jeez.
he looks great. Make sure he has stepped up as the number 1 alpha dog on this Pelicans team.
Oh, by a mile.
Yep. Zion is still going to miss quite a bit of time, so he's locked and loaded. Even when Zion gets back, I think Ingram is still going to be an excellent player. So,
No doubt.
if you got him, Coach, you said that you do. You must be loving life right now.
Oh gosh, I love it. I mean, I had him in my keeper leagues, right from the beginning. I thought this kid could be terrific. He's put on about 20 pounds and he's still raked thin, but nothing like he was. At least he has some definition and muscle now. But man, does he look good, and he's playing with such confidence. I just love it. It's for all the teams that were taking Drew Holiday in the late first round or second rounds. It's like, wow, they've got to be stunned because he just does not look like he's going to be. When Zion gets back, he's certainly not going to be one of the first 2 options. He'll be third or fourth option on this squad, which is sort of bizarre. But yeah, no, Ingram is great. And I think, the tough part about all the rest of the Pelicans, even, with before Zion gets back, it just seems like everybody else is sharing minutes and usage all over the place, and nobody's really stepping out other than Ingram from the whole team. I mean, not a single guy.
Yeah, really tough to rely on any of these guys. But let's just take a quick look. You mentioned Holiday, 15 points, 2 blocks, 4 steals. Love those defensive stats here tonight. 3 assists, 7 rebounds, 1 3. I agree with you, man. If you spent a late first round pick on Drew Holiday, I just don't think he's going to end up returning that value. But let's hope that he's still
he's a player. He's
a top point guard. Yeah. I think Josh Hart has been a serviceable shooting guard for you if you picked him up and if you're streaming him. So 14 points here tonight, 4 steals and assists, 7 rebounds, 2 threes on 6 of 13 shooting. Okafor is another guy who has been pretty serviceable. Tonight, though, was definitely not his night. Only 4 points, only took 3 shots in this game. So
Yeah.
just wasn't really looking for a shot at all. Lonzo Ball with 15 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 threes on 6 of 10 shooting. Off the bench, they got some nice games. Frank Jackson also had a nice game in the last one as well. But tonight, 12 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 1 3. He was a perfect 3 of 3 from the line. Reddick, 12 points, 3 threes from Reddick. So him scoring. And then other than that, not much else. Favors returned, but only played 8 minutes in this one. Put up a goose egg, 0 points.
What a
So
bust.
yeah, Favors has not been looking good, man. Physically, he just does not look right at all.
No. No.
Not much else. Anything else I'm missing or anything? I mean, you kind of said it earlier here, Coach. Not a lot else other than Ingram and a Holiday on this team, right?
No, I mean they're young. They're not winning games. I think it's going to be a year where they just let a lot of these guys play. I mean, you're going to get 15, 20 minutes, varying between all those other guys. So yeah, it's a little tough on the fantasy world here. With the Pelicans once you get away from Ingram and once Zion comes back and Holiday still has value, but after that it's pretty hard to count on any of those guys.
Yep. Let's jump in on the Brooklyn Nets side of this game. I got to start with Kyrie Irving, man. This guy has been outstanding. Coach, one interesting thing is Kyrie, Drew Holiday, Kemba Walker were all kind of going in that same range, like end of the first round, early second round. Kyrie has been the best of that bunch, man.
Yeah.
39 points here tonight, 3 steals, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 threes. How's this shooting? 11 of 11 from the line, 13 of 21
Ridiculous.
from the field. He had a 50-point game earlier in the season. He's just been outstanding. Another guy's been playing well. I somehow ended up with this guy on like every team. Karis LeVert, 23 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 threes tonight, 9 of 19 from the field, 1 of 3 from the line. Joe Harris, really good, especially if you need some points and threes, but really filled it up here tonight.
Dude.
19 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, 4 threes on 7 of 14 shooting from the field. Jared Allen with the double-double. DeAndre Jordan went down with an ankle injury.
Yeah.
When we can't pick up Jared Allen off the wire because he's already probably owned in 100% of leagues. But if you got Jared Allen, you feel a little bit better, maybe not having to worry about DeAndre Jordan cutting into his production in the short term. 18 points, 10 rebounds, a steal, a 7 of 8 shooting from the field, 4 of 7 from the line. So great game from him. Turian Prince, a guy who got drafted really late in a lot of leagues, 12 points, 4 steals, 4 assists, 11 boards, 2 threes. Shooting wasn't too great, only 4 of 12, but I don't think you're going to complain too much with that line. Off the bench, they got a nice game from Temple, 13 points, but you're not really trusting him. I see a lot of people playing Dinwiddie. He only had 7 tonight. Hopefully he'll be better in the next one. Coach, what are your thoughts on this Brooklyn Nets team?
Well, I'm just in awe of how Kyrie's played so far this year. I unfortunately I don't have him in any leagues, and I wish I did. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's so much fun to watch too. He just he's got the greatest handle of all times. I mean, it's just amazing watching his crossover and how he handles the ball like it's a yo-yo on a string. I'm really I enjoy watching Brooklyn. They're a good team. I think they're gonna make the playoffs, and I can't even imagine as this team develops when they add KD next year. Holy crap, man, they're gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great call, Coach. I mean, could you imagine if KD was healthy right now? You would maybe talk about them contending for the top of that Eastern Conference. Yeah. Oh,
Hands down.
good stuff. All right,
Yeah.
let's keep rolling. Let's jump over to the next one here. The Houston Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies. The Rockets getting the victory 107 to 100. Gonna look into the Houston side first. Gotta start with James Harden. My goodness. 44 points, a block, 2 steals, 6 assists, 10 rebounds. 13 of 18 from the line. Coach, 7 of 16 from three-point range. I mean, it is ridiculous that he can take 16 threes in a game.
Amazing.
12 of 28 from the field. No Westbrook in this one. And man, even though Harden is still great with Westbrook, when you see glimpses of what like his usage is like without Westbrook, oh
Yeah.
man, it is ridiculous.
40%,
Yep, it
which
just
is like blows away anybody else. There's nobody else in the 30s,
oh,
and he's 40% without Westbrook. He also still, this is the amazing stat of the year to me. I just could not wrap my arms around, even though it's James Harden, that there's any way his usage wouldn't get cut into pretty severely by Westbrook, because Westbrook is, my God, the guy, averaged a triple double for a couple of seasons. He's got to cut into Harden's usage. You would think. You know what? He hasn't.
mhm.
Harden leads the league in usage, even though up until tonight Westbrook has played alongside him every game. That's how much Harden handles the ball and controls the game. It's the bizarre thing to see.
Unbelievable. Another guy I want to talk about, Daniel House. Coach, I got to get your thoughts on this situation because he got benched the other night for Eric Gordon, who put up a dud. The Rockets lost in embarrassed fashion to the Miami
Yeah.
Heat. House moves back to the starting lineup because Westbrook misses one. The Rockets win. House plays great. 15 points, 3 blocks, a steal, an assist, 9 rebounds, 2 threes, 6 of 15 shooting from the field. Coach, I picked up House in a bunch of leagues. I'm hoping
Mm-hmm.
whatever they did in that Miami Heat game, I'm hoping whatever experiment that was, they're over it and they leave House in the starting lineup. What do you think of House?
Oh, I like him. I have him on tons of leagues, 4 out of 5, because I knew when Gerald Green broke his foot in preseason that he and House were pretty much going to split that position. And House is a great complementary player. I mean he's been very serviceable. In my lineups, he's been a big help. I love having him out there. I think Eric Gordon is just in a horrific slump. I mean, he's 5 for 17 again tonight, and that was 29%. That's the best he shot the ball this year. That's how bad he's been. So, yeah, I don't know. They're Harden and Westbrook, and the rest of the team is just going to chip in. Capella is very underwhelming. He doesn't play in the fourth quarter that much because they always go small and move Tucker to the 5 and just try to run and gun. They're the number 1 pace team in the league. So I don't know. I'm glad I don't have heavy Rockets. If I don't have Westbrook, but if you have Westbrook or Harden, you got to feel great. But after that, House is a nice little value guy, but no one else has been consistent at all. They're using Macklemore now and Rivers and and Cephalosha's getting some minutes, and like PJ Tucker tonight. How weird is that? 34 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 1. 34 minutes and he took 1 shot. That's nuts.
That is outrageous. I mean, Coach, if you and I played 34 minutes in a game, just by accident, I would take more than 1 shot.
I'd get at least 5 shots up. Like 4 of them would be blocked, but I'd get them up anyway.
Totally. It's just his usage is so low, man.
Yeah.
It sucks. All right, let's jump over to the Grizzlies side of this game. No JJJ. here,
Yeah.
dealing with a knee injury. Let's hope that he's back soon. So in the meantime, man, Ja Morant was the guy. 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal. Man, 10 of 16. Love that he shot pretty efficient from the field. 2 of 4 from the line. Let's hope that gets better.
Yeah.
Who else? Brooks has been a little up and down. 17 points. We don't really trust him for standard leagues, but 17 points, 2 steals and assists, 9 boards, 7 of 18 shooting from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. Brandon Clark got the start with JJJ out, and I got kind of excited about it, but was a letdown here. Only 3
Yeah.
points in 20 minutes, only shot 1 of 4. Young rookie, so gonna be a little up and down, still learning. Jonas Valanciunas with a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 1 block, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line. Not too much else to talk about. Jay Crowder's very low end. Actually was serviceable here tonight. 8 points, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 assists, 5 boards, 1 3, but really tough to trust him on a night-to-night
Right.
basis. And then again, Coach, not too much else to talk about. I don't really trust the
No.
bench guys. What are your thoughts on the Memphis Grizzlies?
Well, Ja Morant's going to be a star in this league eventually. I mean, they're letting him come around, fairly slowly. He's been getting minutes in the mid 20s. He's still on a little bit of a minutes restriction himself. I think they have him at 25 to 30 minutes. So if you have him, you got to love it because he's going to be terrific. The guy I'm targeting, and I hope nobody's listening for my Hoopball 3 or Hoopball 4 league, but the guy I'm going to try to trade for is Joe Val. I just love the way he looks, and he was on a sub 20-minute restriction. He missed the whole preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Now they upped it to 25 minutes. He played 23 tonight, and once he busts through that and he starts playing 30 minutes a game, I mean, his usage rate and his plus minus when he's on the floor is fantastic. And tonight wasn't, I mean, just average for him. He only played 23 minutes, but double again, 10 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. I just love his upside, and that's a guy I'm going to be trying to weasel in on somehow.
I love that take. And JJJ has been a little underwhelming. They got a real lack of experience with all the youth and, Brandon Clark.
Yeah.
I could see Jonas Valanciunas really stepping up as like the experienced veteran guy, which is really kind of strange to say because he's not old, but, this team.
He's by far the vet,
Yeah.
He and Crowder. And I read something yesterday where they're shopping Crowder because there's some teams that they can pull some assets, and they really don't need him, at this point. So I agree with exactly what you just said. I think Joe Val's the only experienced, really, go-to kind of guy out there, and he has been around, believe it or not, for like 7 seasons, 6 seasons. Yeah, so he's been around a while.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's keep going here. Let's jump over to the next game, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Bucks blowing out the Timberwolves 134 to 106. Let's take a look at the Bucks side of this game first. We got to start with Giannis, 34 points, 15 boards, 6 assists, 14 of 19 from the field, 6 of 11 from the line. So a little tiny bit of a bummer. He didn't get you any defensive stats. Of course, he doesn't really shoot threes and sometimes can hurt you from the line. So not the greatest night there, but still a pretty nice game from him. Middleton, I love seeing this. 26 points, 2 steals, 4 assists, 4 threes on 9 of 15 shooting from the field, a perfect 4 of 4 from the line. Brook Lopez has been, I feel like he's been a little underwhelming so far this year.
Yeah.
9 points, but, the 3 blocks steal is nice. 2 assists, but, 2 rebounds, 4 of 6 from the field. Did give you a 3 as well. Bledsoe, this is really great to see.
He's on fire.
Shaky start, but the buy low window is probably shut a while ago, actually.
Yeah.
22 points, 6 assists, 9 rebounds, a steal, 1 3 on 8 of 14 shooting, was 5 of 6 from the line. Wesley
Yeah.
Matthews, I hope you guys aren't counting on him. The
No.
bench, not much to talk about on the bench, coach. Yeah, not really much to talk about. What do you think of this Milwaukee Bucks team?
Well, I mean, those stats that you read, the impressive part of those stats is the minutes played
Mm-hmm.
to do those stats. The stat line you read for Giannis was in 26 minutes. Then one for Bledsoe was in 23 minutes, and Middleton was 27 minutes. So those guys are just crushing it every night. I mean, if you have those three guys in any combination, you're in great shape. But after those three guys, I wouldn't touch any of the other dudes with a 10-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
From Lopez to Matthews to that whole entire bench. They're good for Milwaukee's purposes, but they're not going to be any value in fantasy league. So it's really a 3-man fantasy team, 3 real good ones, but 3 guys that I see impacting going forward.
Yep. Let's take a look at what happened on the other side of this game. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's start with, let's start with Andrew Wiggins. 25 points, doesn't usually do a lot else, but did give you 2 blocks, 3 rebounds, 4 threes tonight. That's kind of unusual. So let's hope that maybe he starts contributing in some of these other stats like he did here tonight. 10 of 21 from the field, so took by far took the most shots out of anyone on this team. Robert Covington, 15 points, took a bad fall in this one. Actually, I believe he went to the locker room, came back. It doesn't look like anything serious, but I would contribute that to the 23 minutes that he played there. Likely just being cautious with him. Don't panic if you have Covington. Jeff Teague, it looks like he definitely saw some foul trouble because had 5 fouls, played 18 minutes for only 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 of 7 from the field. Gorgie Dang, who had a really nice game in the last one. This was a much tougher matchup for him. The Bucks a pretty good defensive team. 10 points, only 4 assists, 6 rebounds. If you were streaming him, that likely is going to come to an end in the next one.
Yeah, crashing hole.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns will be back. He has been outstanding before his suspension, so he'll likely be getting back to his ways. And Culver was good the other night, but only 8 points in 24 minutes. He's going to be up and down. His minutes are spotty. Don't trust him. I don't really trust anybody else on this team. Coach, what do you think of the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I mean they were 4-1 going into this game. Now 4-2. So I'm surprised they played that well. I mean, really, Cat just is the dominant player here. So to lose him for 2 games, and the fact that they were at least won one of those 2 is an accomplishment. But yeah, I'm not a Wiggins guy at all because I've said it many times. I think he's just purely points dependent. I mean, he led them in 30 minutes again tonight, and to only have 3 rebounds and 0 assists and 0 steals. I mean, it's unacceptable to me. I mean, you get rebounds, assists, steals, just hustling and getting it done. And he agitates me because I just think he has a lot of empty stat lines. I know in DFS I never take him because, you can he had 25 points, but in DFS standards he had 28.5 fantasy points because he didn't do anything else. So he's a hard guy to count on. Teague's up and down tonight. They got blown out. Andy was in foul trouble. So, he's going to be consistent point guard for you if you have him on your roster. And Roko's not bad. He rebounds and chips in here and there. He's never going to be a star, but if he rounds out your lineup, he's decent. But after that, they're pretty awful.
Yeah.
I mean, Travion Graham and Vonleh, Kogi, Layman, Culver. I don't want any of those guys on my roster.
I agree. Okay, let's head over to the next one. The Philadelphia 76ers at the Phoenix Suns. The Suns getting the victory here, 114 to 109. Coach, the Suns have been a
Amazing.
little surprising this year. They've
Yeah.
beaten some good teams. I think they beat up on the Clippers one night. So they're 4-2. This is really surprising. But let's take a look at the Sixers side of this game first. Let's start with Tobias Harris. 24 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 10 rebounds, a 3, 10 of 20 shooting from the field, 3 of 5 from the line. Al Horford seeing a nice boost with Joel Embiid out.
Yeah.
32 points, 2 steals, a block, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 of 8 from downtown. Love getting those threes from your center spot. 13
Yeah.
of 20 from the field. Great game from him. Korkmaz got the start, did not disappoint. 20
Yeah.
points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 threes on 6 of 13 shooting, 4 of 5 for the line. You guys, I'd love to tell you maybe go pick up, but
I
with
think so.
really okay, because
I do.
I'm wondering with Joel Embiid back if that's gonna kind of kill the Korkmaz party. But you guys, if you want, if you got some dead weight on the end of your roster, maybe pick him up just to see what happens when
He's a
Joel
dead
Embiid.
eye. If you need threes, and I mean, I think he's going to be like their sixth man. I really
Oh,
do. I mean,
nice.
he's instant offense off the bench. Again, 4 for 7 from three. He hit the game winner the other night on the buzzer to beat Portland, I think it was. That would be my recommendation from this game. My takeaway is I think Korkmaz has earned being picked up in some leagues, and I may take a few flyers on him in my hoop ball 3 and 4 tonight. Put a
Ah,
bid in for him because I anytime you have a guy, he's great shooter, 6 for 13 from the field, so he's getting the ball up, and 4 for 7 from three, and chipped in with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, like you said. So yeah, that's a guy I would consider. Tobias Horford, Simmons had a bad game, but those guys are all going to be consistent. Philly's tough. This is their first loss, and they didn't have Joel, so they're going to be solid.
I'm glad you mentioned Ben Simmons. I forgot to mention him. Wasn't super great today. Only shot 2 of 8. 7 steals though. I mean,
That's crazy.
I would almost be happy that he was in my lineup just for the 7 steals alone.
Yeah,
Also gave you 6 assists, 5 rebounds. But the other guy's been a little disappointing. Josh Richardson, in 38 minutes, he only had 8
yeah.
points on 3 of 11 shooting. Didn't give
Ooh,
you any defensive stats at all, which is usually a nice reason to
bizarre.
have him. So
Yeah,
this is somewhat of a disappointment from Josh Richardson. But if you got him, you're not doing anything. You're not, just hope he bounces back soon. And then this bench is really ugly, Coach.
it is.
Thibault gets a lot of hype, but for his defensive potential, but only 5 minutes here tonight with Embiid out. So I don't think there's really any reason to own him in redraft standard leagues. And
No.
okay, so let's not even talk about their bench. Let's jump over to the Phoenix Suns side. I gotta start with Devin
Oh, I
Booker.
love this. I love the Suns, man.
Suns.
That was in all my preseason shows with the Patria. I told them I'm load. I love the Suns. They're going to be the most improved team in the league this year. I know Monty Williams personally, and he is one of the nicest guys ever. I went to coaching clinics with him years back when he very first started coaching and was assisting initially for the Spurs, and just one of the most terrific guys. I was at an engagement where he was the main speaker and got to spend some time with him. And his culture and what he brings to the table, I was so pumped that, the Suns were going to be good. And let me tell you something else. They play better team basketball. I know it sounds insane without Aiton. Since Aiton
Mm,
went out, the Baines, rotation, how he's played with,
hmm
all the other pieces that with Kaminsky and Oubre and everybody, he's got those guys playing hard. And look at Booker tonight, 40 points on only 19 shots. How
mm.
about that?
That's outstanding, and I love your take. Baines is just kind of a good fit on this team because he's a center that doesn't mind getting down and dirty, doing
Yep.
like doing some of that dirty work. And Ricky Rubio, a great facilitator, 10
Yep.
assists here tonight. So the perfect guy, kind of you want on this team next to Booker, next to Oubre, who are great
Hmm.
scorers. Dario Saric can stretch the floor as well. So I agree with you. They've looked really good, but I'm hoping that maybe Aiton sees this and can kind of step in and be what the team needs him to be. So I'm a little optimistic here that Aiton can help this team out when he returns. But let's take a quick look at the box score. Booker, as you said, with the 40 points, looking really good. Rubio, 21 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. Baines has been such an outstanding fill-in for Aiton. 15 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. He's been great. Oubre has
Very.
been pleasant surprise, man. I mean, he was going so early in some of my leagues, and I scoffed thinking, man, I mean, I like him, but too early, and I feel like I was way off there, man. He has looked really good. 14 points and assists, 6 rebounds for him. Dario Saric didn't really have it going here tonight, but he's been pretty
No.
decent lately. Not too much else to talk about. I thought maybe Kaminsky could be a fill-in guy, but that doesn't look like that's happening.
No, he had a terrible game. I don't know how the heck they won this game. I guess because Embiid didn't play. I guess that's
Yeah.
the only reason. But what a win for them. That's nuts.
Great win, and man, they have a good record. Let's see if they can keep this up because now with the Warriors likely being out of it, some teams not playing well, you're kind of curious if Suns can keep this up. I mean, is it possible they can maybe squeak into that eighth spot? It's too early probably to even think about that kind of thing, but um, really interesting stuff. All right,
I lost you there.
oh yeah,
Oh, there you go. I
hello.
lost you for a
Oh,
second.
okay. Um,
Okay.
Okay, so we got one more game, but it's still underway. So, Coach, I think I'll probably just wrap that one up on my own since there's still quite a bit of
Okay.
time in that one. Coach, what anything that you're working on, anything that you want the listeners to know about?
Yeah, the every Wednesday we and it comes out tomorrow afternoon. We have the coaches challenge on. I don't know if you've jumped in there yet or not, but it's on fantasy draft. It's only $2 to enter, and there's cash. You win everything that goes into it. Comes out to the winners, so there's no rake or anything like that. And also the winner gets some cool swag from fantasy draft each week. So they're offering this coaches challenge as our main sponsor for DFS. So any of the listeners, get in there, man. It's a blast. There's a lot of bragging rights, a lot of trash talk, of course, with the Patria and Dan and Andrew jumping in there. And I'd love to see you get in there too, AB.
That's it. I'm gonna get in there, man. On this week's, I got to. I'm gonna probably make a fool out of myself, but that's all
No,
good.
no, but you know the game. You'll do fine.
That's all
You've
good.
got to do better than Apatria. He's finishing. He finishes in the bottom of the group pretty much every week. So you got him beat.
Well, all right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening and for supporting the show. I will be back for one more game. Coach, where can the listeners find you at on Twitter?
It's at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. So definitely hit me up on Twitter. And then also on Twitter at Hoopball Fantasy. Jump on there because we've got our guys, Andy and Miles, streaming all kinds of information every day. And, even though a lot of it that we're posting, we're posting for DFS purposes, but it's crossover with everything else. It's just talking about guys that are going to be out or rotation, load management, everything that's going on in the game, which we all want to know. So yeah, definitely hit me up. Any questions, suggestions, and just a blast, man. I love doing this show with you. I look forward to it every week, and it's fun. It'll be fun to see how our teams do as the year goes on. I gotta keep riding this hot streak. Hope my guys can keep it going.
Oh, I hope your team stays hot. Coach, I always ditto. I always enjoy talking to you as well. Thank you so much, and thank you, listeners. Coach is gonna go, but I'll be back for one more game. All right, you guys, I'm back for the final game of the evening. The Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trailblazers. This one was a shocker. The Warriors getting the victory, 127 over the Trailblazers, 118. I'm going to take a look at the Portland side first. I'm going to start with Damian Lillard, who had a pretty nice scoring game, 39 points on 15 of 26 shooting. He added 5 threes, was a perfect 4 of 4 from the line. Gave you a block, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. CJ McCollum with 14 points, 6 assists, a rebound, 2 threes on 6 of 16 shooting. It was an okay game from him. Hassan Whiteside with 22 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks on 10 of 14 shooting, 2 of 5 from the line. On the bench, I know a lot of you might be streaming Mario Hezonja and Kent Bazemore. They were just okay here tonight. 11 points for Hezonja with 3 threes. Bazemore had 7 points, a steal, and assists. 6 rebounds and 1 3 on 3 of 10 shooting, so it's not really happening for those guys. Unfortunately, it's really only Lillard, McCollum, and Whiteside that you're trusting for fantasy. Hood put up a bad game in 36 minutes, only had 4 points, shot 1 of 8, so I expected Hood to have a much bigger game against a Warriors team that is not very good defensively. So not a lot to talk about on the Portland side. Let's jump over to the Warriors. Man, Eric Paschall, 36 points, 13 rebounds, a block, 4 threes, perfect 10 of 10 from the line, 11 of 19 from the field. You guys run to your wire right now. Double check that this guy's not available. He's been snatched up in all of my leagues. Outstanding game from him. He could be a difference maker. He could be a league winner type of pickup with the Warriors having nothing to play for, with really all this buzz, all this talk about their studs getting shut down. Paschall could be a really strong fantasy asset for the rest of the year. So run right now, double check that he's not sitting there. Another guy who I was able to pick up in a few leagues is Kai Bowman, 19 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds on 9 of 14 shooting, had a 3 tonight as well. 37 big minutes with D'Angelo Russell out. We know Steph Curry's going to miss a lot of time. I think this guy needs to be picked up in all standard leagues as well. Not a slam dunk, still a chance that D'Angelo Russell could hurt him, but I also could possibly see the opportunity of Bowman playing next to D'Angelo Russell or them staggering minutes as well. So I think Bowman could definitely be a guy worth owning even in standard leagues. So go double check on him as well. Let's see who else. Jordan Poole, 16 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Didn't shoot great, only 3 of 16 shooting, 2 threes. He could be worth a look probably in deeper leagues like 12 teams or deeper. The shooting percentage isn't great. Usually doesn't do much else other than score, maybe some threes, but was nice from the line tonight, 8 of 8 as well. Cauley-Stein, I would stick with Willie Cauley-Stein, still working his way back, only played 16 minutes, 10 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. With the Warriors so thin at the front court, you have to think that Cauley-Stein's going to probably eventually start either next to Paschall or next to Draymond Green, or both. So I would stick to Cauley-Stein if you have him. And if he's available in your league, could be worth a look if you need a big man. Off the bench, they got a nice game from Lee, 16 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds in 29 minutes. He could be worth an add in deeper leagues, but I would probably prioritize him last on this list compared to some of these other guys. And Alec Burks is another guy as well that could get that could be worth a look. 13 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 3 on 4 of 12 shooting. He was 4 or 5 from the line. So a lot of interesting pieces on this Golden State Warriors team. Marquez Chris, I think we can move on from him. And let's see what happens as far as Draymond Green and D'Angelo Russell coming back. I do think we see them soon, but I really don't like their outlook for the rest of the year with the Warriors. Looks like they're going to go into the tank and really don't have much to play for. So, we could see limited minutes from D'Angelo Russell and or Draymond Green. So, you guys, that's about it for the night. Really great night of fantasy basketball. I want to thank Coach Joe Sarvati for joining me earlier. Always have fun talking to him. Thank you guys for listening and for supporting the show. And good luck, you guys, for the rest of the week. I will see you next time.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.